arrested 15 suspected drug peddlers in Tamale and Savlugu. And in business, the Ghana Stock Exchange recorded a marginal uptick in trading activity at the close of March 17, 2026 session. And on the international front, Israeli airstrikes flattens an apartment block in Beirut, killing at least 6 people. Details of these stories comes up shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, this news is live on Facebook at Baina TV. Now let's move on to the details of these stories. The Ghana Police Service has arrested 15 suspected drug peddlers in coordinated operations in Tamale and Savlugu as part of a crackdown on narcotics in the region. The raid were carried out by the Northern Regional Special Operations Team, also known as the Red Maria, on the night of March 17 and early hours of March 18. Police said the operation, led by Superintendent John Danso and ASP Rashid Jeremiah, involved 35 personnel. According to a police situation report, the team first conducted an exercise at Chogu in Tamale, where 9 suspects were arrested in possession of suspected narcotic substance. Officers then moved to Savlugu about 5 a.m., where 6 additional suspects were apprehended. All 15 suspects are currently in custody and assisting with investigations, police said. The operation forms part of ongoing efforts by the police to clamp down on drug trafficking and related activities in the northern region. The National Teaching Council has announced a change in the commencement date for the 2026 Ghana Teacher Licensure exam, citing a statutory public holiday as the reason for the adjustment. In a statement issued on Monday, March 16, 2026, the Council indicated that the examination, which was originally scheduled to begin on Monday, 23rd March 2026, will now commence on Tuesday, 24th March 2026.
According to the NTC, the decision was taken to accommodate the public holiday set to be observed on the initial date. The Council has therefore urged all candidates and relevant stakeholders to take note of the change and make the necessary adjustments. Despite the shift in the start date, the NTC emphasized that all other arrangements regarding the examination remains unchanged. The revised timetable is as follows: Tuesday, 24th March 2026, General Professional Knowledge; Wednesday, 25th March 2026, Grade Level Specialism Pedagogy; Thursday, 26th March 2026, Multiple Subject Content, Single Subject Specialism. The Council expressed regret for any inconvenience the scheduling may cause, but appealed to candidates for their understanding and cooperation. The Ghana Teacher Licentiate Examination remains a mandatory requirement for all prospective teachers seeking professional certification in the country, serving as a key measure to ensure quality standards within the education sector.
Now, moving on to other stories, President John Mahama has urged organized labor to support the government's plan to introduce private sector participation in billing and metering operations of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Addressing the leadership of worker unions at the Jubilee House on Tuesday, March 17, he explained that the arrangement would not lead to job loss.
President Mahama said insufficiencies in billing and metering undermined ECG's operations and affected its ability to improve wages, enhance working conditions, and expand social protection. The president disclosed that $1.57 billion was spent on the settlement of legacy debts in the energy sector in 2025, adding that about $8 billion had been used over the past 9 years to address financial challenges in the sector. He called on organized labor to support the government in achieving the new institutional architecture of ECG, stressing that the reform was not designed against labor, but rather with labor and for the long-term stability of Ghana's public sector compensation system. President Mahama said pension coverage remained low, noting that pension assets stood at about 10 billion Ghana cedis, representing 7% of gross domestic product, which was below continental benchmarks. The president said the Ministry of Finance had been tasked to review the pension structure, expand coverage in the formal sector, modernize contribution system, and strengthen governance and investment management. He stated that together they could build a remuneration system that is transparent and equitable, a pension system that guarantees dignity in retirement, and an economy that supports fair rewards for hard work. He added that the goal was clear: every Ghanaian worker must retire with dignity, security, and confidence in the pension system.
Still on a dialogue with the organized labor, President John Mahama has called on tenants to report landlords who demand more than legally permitted rent advances, urging stricter enforcement to curb exploitation in the housing sector. Speaking during a dialogue with the organized labor at the Jubilee House in Accra on Tuesday, March 17, the president stressed that rising housing costs continue to place heavy burden on households, making access to affordable accommodation increasingly difficult. President Mahama attributed the growing trend of excessive rent demands to the country's house deficit, a challenge he pledged to address, while noting that some landlords are exploiting the situation to impose unlawful charges on tenants. He further encouraged tenants to take decisive action by reporting such cases to the appropriate authorities, which is the Rent Court, assuring that offenders would be held accountable. The president's remarks come amid growing concerns from the public over the widespread practice of landlords demanding up to 2 years rent advance, a situation widely criticized as unlawful and exploitative. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be back with some business and more. Do stay.
Salafest 2026. This time with Abim Mamad. Africa Achievers Awards, Night of Music and Awards. It's gonna be Zafi. Salafest 2026 presents Meikankan Entertainment Africa Achievers Award in collaboration with Zongo TV. It's 2026. Join the biggest night of music and celebration. Kada ka bari a baka labari. Salafest 2026 is honoring leaders and artists from Ghana, Nigeria, Niger, Gabon, Sudan, and Cameroon for their contribution to music, community development, and beyond.
Goshin wasa Abdulsalam Shatan Niger.
Hamisu Breaker, Nigeria.
Ya bayyana ne tun daga zuciya sannan kaunar ke
Zainab Indomie a Nigeria.
Ajnabi babo zuciya na.
Sannan akwai mawaka kamar Kochi Tanku, Faruk FK, B Jama, D Flex, Tiny, Ibada, Sasko, Gali GH, Garba Yaron Zamani da FBS. Night of Awards and Music.
Daren karramawa da wake-wake.
Za a yi sherere
da turkashi.
Unite at the National Theatre, Accra, Ghana on Monday 30th March 7 p.m. sharp. Rate call 0243 481 334. Night of Awards and Music.
Ranar Litini 30 ga watan Maris a National Theatre.
Karfe 7 agogon Ghana.
Zai shere. Mukara turkashi.
It's gonna be boom.
Babu zuciya na kai sabo so da shakuwa.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is Bernard Midday News on Bernard TV, and we're streaming live on Facebook at Bernard TV. Now let's move on to some business story. The Ghana Stock Exchange recorded a marginal uptick in trading activity. Data from the exchange shows that the benchmark GSE Composite Index advanced by 23.24% to close at 15,868.11, lifting its year-to-date return to 80.93%. The GSE Financial Stock Index also gained 94 points, pushing its YTD returns to 124.83%.
The positive performance reflects sustained buying interest and upward price movement across selected counters, with both benchmark indices ending the session in positive territory. Despite the overall gains, market activity pointed to mixed investor sentiment, with a number of equities recording losses. On the gainers chart, Republic Bank Ghana and GWOL led the market, appreciating by 0.26 Ghana cedis and 0.16 Ghana cedis to close at 4.69 Ghana cedis and 7.60 Ghana cedis respectively. EcoBank Transnational Incorporated and Clydestone also posted modest gains. On the flip side, SIC Insurance Company and Total Energy stopped the laggards, shedding 0.62 Ghana cedis and 0.14 Ghana cedis to close at 5.59 Ghana cedis and 39.99 Ghana cedis respectively. Other decliners included Calbank, Enterprise Group, FanMilk, Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, and MTN Ghana, all of which posted mild losses. In terms of traded equities, MTN Ghana accounted for the largest share of market activity, recording a traded value of 1.98 million Ghana cedis and a volume of 314,415 shares, representing about 45.28% of total market turnover. ETI and Cowbank followed with traded values of 649,645.29 Ghana cedis and 610,502.52 Ghana cedis respectively. Market capitalization crossed a major milestone, rising above the 300 billion Ghana cedis mark for the first time to 301.86 billion Ghana cedis, up from 299.56 billion Ghana cedis in the previous session. Total volume traded increased by 3.94% to 1.38 million shares, although total value traded declined by 18.34% to 4.37 million Ghana cedis, indicating a shift towards lower price trades. Analysts say the market continues to demonstrate resilience, but caution that sustained performance will depend on liquidity conditions, investor sentiment, and broader macroeconomic stability. On the corporate action front, AngloGold Ashanti is scheduled to pay a Q4 2025 dividend of $1.73 on March 27, 2026, while MTN Ghana will pay a final dividend of 0.40 Ghana cedis for the 2025 financial year on April 10, 2026.
Now moving on to some news beyond our borders, Israeli airstrikes flattened an apartment block in Beirut, killing at least 6 people. The strike hit shortly after dawn of 18th March, sending thick smoke over central Beirut as emergency teams rushed to the scene. The Israeli army said it had warned residents to evacuate about an hour before the attack, which flattened the building and damaged nearby vehicles on busy road. The building had already been targeted 3 times on 12 March without collapsing, marking a 4th strike in less than a week.
Israel claims the site was used by Hezbollah to store large sums of money, though no evidence had been made public. The attack comes as Israel intensified operations in southern Lebanon in response to cross-border fire. Strikes in recent Beirut, once rare, have become more frequent, raising concerns over civilian risk and further escalation in the conflict. Meanwhile, Iranian missile strike near Tel Aviv kills elderly couple in Ramat Gan. The victims, a couple in their 70s, were hit by shrapnel as they headed to a shelter of a cluster munition. Emergency teams found heavy damage to homes and cars, while smoke rose over the area as sirens sounded across central Israel. The overnight barrage hit several sites, with at least 8 impact points reported in the Tel Aviv district and nearby Bnei Brak, where 1 person was slightly injured. Shrapnel also damaged platforms at Savidor Central Station, forcing a nationwide suspension of rail services. The strike is part of ongoing exchanges since late February after Israel said it killed senior Iranian figures on March 17. Authorities say 40 people have died in missile attacks on Israel since the conflict escalated.
And now in sports, Morocco was stunningly awarded the Africa Cup of Nations title on Tuesday by appeals judges who overturned Senegal's victory in a chaotic final in January. The Confederation of African Football said its appeals board ruled that Senegal is declared to have forfeited the final, and its 1-0 win in extra time becomes a 3-0 default win for the host nation Morocco.
In the January 18th final in Rabat, Senegal players led by coach Pape Thiaw left the field in protest during stoppage time for 15 minutes, and fans tried to storm the field when Morocco was awarded a penalty that was set to decide the match. When play resumed, Morocco forward Ibrahim Diaz spot kick A controversial slow chip shot known as Panenka was saved by goalkeeper Edouard Mendy, and Senegal scored the only goal in extra time. Tension in the stadium was already raised by Senegal being denied a goal minutes before the penalty was given to Morocco. In the second minute of stoppage time, Senegal's apparent go-ahead goal was ruled out for a foul by Abdoulaye Seck, but TV replays